for that boom bap breakfast right here in your ear. This is the Remix Morning Show right here on Black Power Media, and this ain't no rerun done. We here. That's right. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. Let me introduce you to our host. We got no other than Dr. Jared Ball. And burn it down, Kim Brad. And this, we are not done. We got Jackie Lukman.
Let's go, Lukman Nation.
What up? Yo, look, those reruns be saving our lives, though.
Look at your face. He ain't feeling no rerun. Hey.
What's up, good people?
Good morning.
Good.
So I'm gonna tease something. Let me tease something. In the news block, I got some Morgan State tea that I need folks to share and help me get to the bottom of. So get your teacups and your cozies and your what's your hot toddies.
Hot toddies.
And we're gonna do some investigating today, and it's gonna be part of a series. I'm gonna continue the investigation later this morning and afternoon, I should say, before my class. And I'll have more to report later this week, hopefully.
Intriguing.
It's heated. It's interesting. I can't. It's going to be fat. Two interesting tidbits my students put me onto yesterday. So I'm very much looking forward to. The students, because so every day, every class. Oh man, it was beautiful. One of my students said that she at her job where I think she works with young people. She said she uses this now. So because every day I walk into class and I greet everybody, and then I say, okay, are there any questions, comments, concerns, queries, conundrums, cacophony, calumny, consternation, contemplation, condemnation, let's get it started. And they were like, Dr. Ball. So one of my students was like, Dr. Ball, I started using that. I quoted you. And I was like, that's great. I was like, I appreciate that. It's an honor. Thank you very much. And then she said, but I got she said, did you hear about this and that? And I was like, no and no. So I wouldn't say a deep dive. I did a little medium dive last night and this morning and was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna let that be, into the news break. And then
speaking of deep dives, we got one more person we like to bring through. Come out.
Yes.
Am I on time?
Never, ever, not once.
Hey, Kim, we miss you. Where you been?
Yeah, man.
I went out of town last week, believe it, and I actually left the house. I know. That's what I'm saying. It was a monumentous occasion. It was
You peopled? You peopled?
I did people. It was really weird. I was peopling and it was strange. It was very strange. Come out. I went up to New York, and let me big up to New York because New York didn't stink. New York didn't smell like urine. Just a little bit, but not like I remember.
Congratulations on the come up.
It smell like trees now. It smell like trees.
Oh my God.
That's the compliment. It wasn't as shitty as I thought it would be.
It didn't smell as much like urine as it did the last time.
No, it wasn't as shitty as I remember it.
No. Ear Doctor, the weed situation is out of control in Manhattan, man. It's weed everywhere. And look, I'm you know what kind of stoner I am. I'm looking at these niggas skeptically. I'm like, I don't even know if I want this shit because it's so much of it out there. I was like, come on now, wait a second, y'all doing.
I knew I was there when I sparked up in front of a cop, and I was just like, yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, I wasn't ready.
And then he whooped your ass for something else.
Having an attitude with it.
I don't need no goddamn weed to whip your ass.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Oh, yes, I knew I made it then.
Hey, but did Erica send you the picture? I saw Sister Erica in New York.
What?
Erica Kane?
What? No, Erica Brown. Come on. Come on. Stop being silly.
That's right.
Oh, I don't know.
Erica was in the city.
Y'all just ran into each other?
No,
Like
we
you-
had it was
Y'all
it
made
was
plans? You
it
made
was-
plans?
Erica and I hung out.
Without you.
I hung out with
Without you.
Erica in the streets, not like in the room. You know what I'm saying? We was outside. It was wild. Let me send I'm gonna send Ear Doctor the
I
picture.
want to
So
see the pic.
Is Kamal's mic on or is it just me?
no, you know, Kamal got the
Testing, 1, 2,
tin
3,
cans.
testing, 1,
He
2,
got
Late
the
and
string,
late
got a
and
piece of-
unplugged.
a piece of string plugged into his computer. Talking about is my mic on?
I can't be around for
Oh damn.
And he did. He's like, boop.
Turn your mic on, Kamal K. Franklin.
Oh,
It is good to see all these beautiful people. I do have, in addition to the TV news, I do have. It'll be good that everybody's here because I have some pest control folks showing up at some point.
Pest.
So I might have to pull like a Jackie and deal with some folks showing up to work on the house at the.
Hey, look.
No, I thought that was entertaining TV. I'm not hating.
Oh, that was
TV.
hilarious.
When you like, nah, it's over there. Nah, go, you gotta go down there. Nah,
And he
yeah,
was cute too.
yeah. Oh,
Jorge, he was.
Oh.
He was. Yeah, I
Uh-oh.
got off. He was like, if you need anything else, mommy, give me a call.
oh,
Yes,
wow.
sir.
Hey.
He did his thing. That's what you got to do.
Let me know if it does not work. Okay.
Will do.
Yes,
Jorge.
indeed.
Muchas gracias.
And then she's right. And then she started unplugging everything, kicking stuff.
Look
It
at this.
just doesn't
Damn lights don't work.
Can you send back the guy
Yeah.
again?
I
No,
think
not that
Jorge-
one.
No, right,
I think his name is Jorge.
Jorge did a great job. Can we give Jorge 5 stars, please?
Yeah,
Jorge,
all the
you need
Jorges,
overly
like
again?
they like every time I go to the store, I get no help, no assistance, nothing. Every time my wife goes, is lines of folks. Oh, let me get that for you. Let me help you find. Meanwhile, I'm wandering the store for hours and days, lost,
They call the
confused in the
security on
wilderness.
you.
Right?
All security. We have a man wandering around the halls. He seems to be bothering this woman.
Ambiguous male in the back, aisle 6.
Oh man. Could be Hispanic, could be Middle Eastern. We don't know.
We don't.
He's something.
We
He's
can-
something.
just
That is actually that's been said to be a number of times. They're like, it's something. He's something. I don't know what it is, but you something. It's like, okay, yeah.
What
you're
are
something.
you? Are you empanada? Are you halal? Like, what's going on? What's up?
Just
What's
put
up
me in
over
the
there?
correct
kosher.
category.
Well, you
Just
are.
put
You
me-
are like
yeah.
half kosher though.
That's it. Yeah. Put
Yeah.
me in the threat. Just put me whatever it is. Put me in the threat
The
category.
threat category.
Be afraid. I did have
You got the
somebody run
picture?
up on me. Huh? Did you get the?
Oh, no, I was
picture?
asking Kim if she got the
Oh.
picture. I wanted to see this picture, though.
I sent it to Ear Doctor. I just
Oh,
texted
okay.
it to him.
So who ran up on you, though?
No, I was just saying in Adams Morgan in DC one day, somebody ran up on me, and it was the weirdest thing. In a brother from somewhere in the diaspora, and he was literally running, and he stopped and pointed at me, and he said,
Did
"You
you?
got." No, no, it was weird. He said he was very specific. He said, I don't think he said Jew, but he said you have Russian blood. And then he just started running off again. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, that's pretty accurate. Belarus to be specific, but you know, I was like, damn. I mean, it was just weird. He just was running for whatever reason. He was like, you got Russian blood. He just kept running. I was like,
Ancestor stopped him real quick. Tell him about himself.
tell him about himself. I was like, wow, okay, I appreciate that. Run back again and give me another bit of my ancestry. You know what I'm saying? Like take
This
another
is a lot
lap.
cheaper than Ancestry.com.
Right, you know
a
what I'm
lot
saying?
cheaper, a lot less
Save
sketchy
you
too.
know, billing, a lot less sketchy. Just do another lap and break
Wait.
down another bit of my genetics.
Can I tell y'all a story real quick about Ancestry.com, white folks, and my New York misadventures? So I'll tell y'all this
Oh,
real quick.
wow.
So Erica,
Great
Afra, and Sister Erica's friend, the 4 of us went to a karaoke bar after we went to this one event that we went to. And the white girl in the bar selected a Cardi B song where she started singing all the niggas, right? She's singing all the niggas. Afra instantly had her heckles up like, Guess what the white girl told Afra, y'all? The white girl told Afra it was okay for her to sing all the N-words in the Cardi B song because she's 19% sub-Saharan African.
Oh,
So what's 19%? No, I'm just saying. That would be
Take
inappropriate. But like, what's
the
19%?
23 and me away from the white folks. Just take it away from them. They can't have it no more.
Like, I'm
they
black
do.
enough. I'm
I'm
black
black
enough.
enough, right?
So
I
just
check-
let's just you get 81% of this ass whooping.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
That is
fair.
appropriate.
If we're gonna break it down, I
Don't
will
let these
calibrate this
ancestors
beating
get
to
your ass
81%. do 81.
Big up to Afra. Yeah, shout out to Afra. She did the thing. So yeah. So
Yeah,
anyway,
so you did the
Oh
karaoke, dude.
man.
Damn. You
I
did
know.
everything. I'm not. I always thought
Now
you
where's
were
the
like, you
video
know,
of that? You talking about
Yeah.
pictures? I'm talking about where's the
Yeah,
karaoke
forget about this
video?
picture. I need to see the karaoke now.
Yeah.
cousin Erica,
Oh.
please don't share that with them.
Erica.
Erica.
Put that in the news. Put that in the
E.
news.
Come now.
Big E. Put the link in the right the
In the
run
news.
sheet.
Not the link in the run sheet.
Yeah.
But it's hard,
Oh,
y'all.
man, that would be
It-
great.
I wanted to get out of Manhattan, but Manhattan has a tendency to suck you in and keep you there. Like it was, I mean, and plus I was only there for 2 days. So again,
But
I still have
Kim-
not seen no other parts of New York City besides Manhattan.
Oh damn. But Kim, we
Yeah.
skipped the part though.
What's that?
She did the Cardi B song. White girl did the Cardi B song. What did you all do?
Oh, I
Yeah.
sang Journey, dog. I did what I do. It was bad. It wasn't a good Journey presentation. I'm sorry. I will go to the karaoke
Did Journey?
and sing the white people
Which-
songs.
which
Yes, I will.
one?
Was it a song I
Song.
would know? Anybody would know? Journey or
Was it Don't
some?
Stop Believing?
just get-
Did-
No,
was it
girl,
the
come on,
anthem?
Jackie. Give me a little bit more credit. Give me a little bit more credit. I think I did Wheel in the Sky.
Oh my God, you went in
Wheel
the
sky
bag.
keeps on turning.
You know that?
Yeah. I know that
Oh,
song.
doesn't know
Journey
that
is
song?
the shit. Journey is the shit. Stop fronting.
Oh my God. Woo, girl.
And I don't need drunk karaoke for
Wait a minute,
Journey.
you're shocked that I know Journey.
Journey is great.
I'm sorry. Why is this the
I
shock?
keep mixing Journey,
I
Air
don't-
Supply. I keep all Out of Love. Is that Journey or Air Supply?
Yeah, I think that's Air Supply.
Yeah.
Don't
this-
hate on
it
them
sounds like
either.
it's the same thing to me.
It's
What's a
not the
Journey
same
hit?
thing.
What's a Journey
Don't
hit?
make me come down there. and
Separate
beat your ass.
ways.
Separate Journey got major hits,
Yeah, they got a lot of
multiple
hits.
hits. The Sopranos ended on Journey,
Yes,
son.
it did. Mhm.
Ear doctor, come back here, save this man his music. Save this man, save this man.
Hey, I'm on your side, Kamel. I don't listen to Journey like that. I play Don't Stop Believing, and that's about it.
Oh, that's Journey.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I know that
That's
song.
the anthem. That's one of
Yeah.
the whites'
Is that
anthem.
to do with black
Yes.
hair?
Right.
Is that black hair? I know that's not much of a.
Huh?
Oh
description.
my
He
God.
Perry.
had a solo career. Y'all are
What's his name?
terrible,
What's his
man.
name? What's the lead singer's
Steve
name?
Perry.
Harry.
Okay, I've heard of that dude.
That's a legendary vocalist.
Not in,
Can I
my,
tell
not,
you-
in, not in Albany Projects, he wasn't.
my heart is
Come
so
on, you
encouraged
lying like
that,
shit.
that Jackie and Jared know the Journey songs, and two will sing the Journey songs at karaoke. I feel another meetup potentially brewing here
Mhm.
because I'm
Man.
You
very
gonna go outside the
excited.
house then? Did you like going outside the house? Does this mean this is gonna be a regular occurrence of
So,
yours?
so it was weird, right? Like, so I forgot that I was cute. I forgot that I was fine. So I was weirded out by it. I'm like, why are these men talking to me? And like me and
Yo.
Afra, I'm like, Afra, why are these dudes like yelling at us? What is
Yo.
this?
Kim was a hot toddy out there, y'all.
Ooh,
Listen.
look at
listen.
Oh,
Look at Erica and
Oh, there
Oh,
we go.
man.
This is
Wait a
to
minute.
Erica.
Beijing
Uh-oh.
in town.
Beijing and
Oh, Sister
You-
Erica even had the yellow jokes for me. She said, "Girl, what is up with them legs? How come your face is 3 shades darker than your legs, Kim? When was the last time you saw outdoors?"
She don't get outside at all. God.
I can't.
Man.
I definitely can't talk. I put shorts on for the first time to walk the dog the other day. He started barking at me, man. Like,
Who are you?
The dog is like, white man, white man, white man.
Wow. Man, listen, y'all. Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. If y'all don't know, Black Power Media, tomorrow is 420. We are celebrating 2 years of the Remix Morning Show. That's right. So make sure y'all tune in. So big things happening, big things popping. What we're going to do right
big
now, though,
things.
we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and hit y'all with some news right here on the Remix Morning Show. Yeah. Big up, everybody. Once again, welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor. And please make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and all them buttons down there. That's sharing and caring. Go to patreon.com and drop some chains on Black Power Media. We will have some more exclusive stuff for y'all in a second. Believe that. All right. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get to the weather report. Let's start off in the ATL. It's going to get hot today, y'all. Starting off at 46 degrees, going to make it all the way up to 83. Yes, it's going to be John Blitz. Now let's take it to BK Brooklyn. They're going to start off at 46 also, but they only going to make it up to 62. That's how it is. Next, take it to the Midwest, Shy. Chicago, starting off at 42, going to make it up to 64. And now let's take it to Texas. Let's go to Austin, the place where my daddy was raised. Starts off at 68 and makes it up to 80 degrees. Going to be hot over there, too. Next, let's take it to L.A., Los Angeles. 51, going to make it to 71 degrees as a high. Next, let's take it down to the Virgin Islands. If you're going to go get your vacation on, they're going to be at 82 degrees as a high today. Now, let's take it over to the motherland, no other land. Let's take it to Mali. They starting off at 91 degrees and going to make it all the way up to 107 degrees. Now, that's hot. Not as hot as the community was at this guy right here, Mr. Tate. This is the guy, the white man, Andrew Lester, who was a homeowner who allegedly shot and wounded Ralph Yarl, a black teen, after he was 16 years old, went to the wrong home to pick up his sibling. Now, this guy's going to face 2 felony charges, and I hope he faces a lot more than that. With that said, let's go ahead and get back to the crew because I know they're going to talk about some news for you and y'all. All right, let's get back to it right here on the Remix Morning Show. Let's go. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Hey, before I get out of here, big up to all those that tuned in to Sundays. We was talking about top 10 underground not recognized MCs that should be on the top 20 list, and it was pretty dope. So tune in and check that out.
Give us a slight some of the names.
Some of the names: Fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The Game.
Wait, these are underground rappers?
Master Ace.
Yeah, they're not underground.
Well, you never get to hear them on the top in the top 10 to 20.
You're saying they're underrated.
Underrated, yeah.
Underrated.
Okay.
Oh,
I did say
I thought you
right.
said underground. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
underrated.
Well, he did say underground, but he meant underrated.
Okay.
You're right.
I got
right.
you.
All right. With that said, go check it out.
No. You only gave me 2. Stop. Give me 3. Give me 2 or 3 more.
Method Man.
I think Method is underrated. I agree.
He is. He's never.
I don't agree with that. What are you talking about?
He never gets mentioned in the top 20.
He shouldn't be top 10. But
all
he's
the time.
top
It's people's
20.
top MCs, favorite MCs, favorite at a woo.
So there's a difference between favorite and top. Yeah, would everybody agree with that? So there's a lot of people's favorite MCs, and then there's the actual top MCs. So
right,
I would
but if you're a lot of people's favorites, I don't think that qualifies you for an underrated list, though. That's my only point.
I just think his lyrical skills should have him closer in the top 10, top 20. That's all.
Top 20.
Who's the best out of Wu-Tang? Like, who is the I know who I think is the best rapper.
I would go lyrically Method. I mean, you can understand what he's saying. It's not always like I mean, think about it. You listen to Raekwon, you listen to Ghost, you don't know what they're talking about.
And that's what makes it so brilliant. That's the brilliance of it. It's abstract. It's abstract art, and it's incredible. I would say Ghostface Killer without hands down.
It's provocative.
I like Ghost more than I like Meth. I don't know that I could. I don't know if yeah, better though. I don't know, but I definitely like Ghost more than I like Meth. Yeah. So yeah, I don't. Well, I agree with Kim. I like the abstract.
Let me get out of here, and I'll catch y'all the next break. Peace.
Hey, shout out to DC Joe. Joe.
Hey, thank you.
What's
Thank
up,
you.
Joe? Come through, Joe.
Thank
What's
you,
up,
Joe.
Joe?
It's
And for
the-
those
it's the early-
who those unfamiliar with DC, that is a style of greeting.
Mhm.
What up, Joe?
Oh,
What up,
Chicago
Joe?
too.
Yeah.
They call each other
Oh,
Joe
I didn't
in
know.
Chicago.
Really?
I did not
Okay.
know
I
that.
didn't know that either.
Yeah, they call
You
each
go
other.
around calling each other
Chicago.
Joe?
Joe, what up,
What's up,
Joe?
Joe?
I
Yeah.
don't like it.
That's the
I like
spread
that-
of
I
the
like that
country Bama
$10.
all throughout the Eastern Seaboard.
It is a Bama lane. It is a strain of Bama-ness. You know.
They stole it
'Cause
from up north. We be like, "What up, yo?" Now they say Joe.
No,
Come
that's
on.
not.
Oh.
Nah.
No.
That makes
Nah,
sense.
it probably went the other way,
makes
like
sense
the
to me.
Nile. It flowed upward like the Nile. You know, man.
His
And then
explanation
these
is fine.
Yo.
people flipped up with what up, Mo? You know what I'm saying? Joe and
Mhm.
Mo also
Mhm.
acceptable greetings in
And
the
Slim.
DMV.
Slim.
Slim.
in
Slim.
DC.
Oh my gosh. I had
Yeah.
this fat comedian got mad at me because I called him Slim. He thought I was making a joke. I'm like,
He didn't
"Nah,
understand.
Slim, like, thank you, Jackie. It was Ralphie May. Ralphie May. We got into something more on Twitter, obviously years ago. Ralphie's deceased now. And I was like, Slim, chill out. And he was like, "Oh, you making fat jokes?" I'm like, "No,
No.
I'm from
On
Maryland.
the
We call
DMV,
each
dude,
other
everybody
Slim."
Slim. We don't pronounce our R's. Everybody Slim.
I think we overpronounce the R's, Jackie. Don't you, Merlin? That's a lot of
sometimes-
R's.
I think it's
That's
like
a lot
we
of
take
R's,
out
yeah.
that middle that we take out that middle part of the word. Like we never pronounce all of the parts of the word. Like Eric is never Eric, it's Eric.
It's her.
Work.
Maryland is not Maryland, it's Maryland.
It's Merlin.
Oh,
Merlin.
damn.
Oh,
Everywhere.
Oh,
damn.
damn. Oh, damn.
Ear doctor's trying to let us know. All right, hit the map. Let's
Fine.
slap the map.
Yes, coming at y'all live, mostly in HD. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. Let me underscore the word live here, y'all. We are live in here this morning. It is Wednesday, April the 19th. Your Remix Morning Show All-Stars are in here. Dr. Jared Ball, Kamal Franklin, the Jacqueline Luke Mom. My name is Kim Brown. We got Ear Doctor in the cut. Remixes, are y'all happy to see us? Because we're happy to see y'all. Well, I'm happy to see y'all. I wasn't here last week, so I missed y'all. So thank you guys so much for showing up and showing out for the BPM this morning. Give the video a like, a thumbs up. Do all the things, please. Follow Black Power Media all around the internet, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Where else are we, y'all? Different places. I don't know. We everywhere. But support
Twitch
the channel if
business.
you're able to. Twitch is this. We on Twitch is this. Also, so good morning, everybody. Good morning to my comrades. How's everybody feeling this morning? Jared already hit us with the massive tease regarding the tea
Yes.
surrounding
Yeah.
Morgan State University that Jared Ball's students have hipped him to. So maybe
think I
Dr.
want the
Ball will
tea.
hip us now.
So on both of these, I'm several days late because I missed. So the first one, I'm gonna try to go in build up to the start with something light. Although this is not light at all, but relatively, actually, this may actually be heavier, and it's just less. I don't know. It's just more serious, I suppose, on some level. But one story is that a Morgan State teacher last week, and a former Annapolis principal was arrested on armed robbery. And what was especially concerning about this was that the robbery is basically that he took a woman he was dating hostage, apparently, at gunpoint, was what is initially how the story was relayed to me, and is ultimately what was behind Mark Stewart Brown, who also serves as a faculty member at Morgan State University, who was taken into custody on April 12th by Baltimore police. Let's see. Right. He had joined the university just this year in January as a part-time lecturer. And I admit that this actually stood out to me when I read this story initially, because it's, on a descending scale, admittedly, from what was actually said to have occurred here, or what was reported to me by students at least, and is not, and related a little bit in the story, is that Morgan is hiring more and more lecturers and reducing the amount of full-time tenure and tenure track faculty. And so it was that part, I admit, stuck out to me. And I'm not, for some reason, seeing the full story load up. But essentially, what was the case was he had started dating a grad student, and in an exchange on a date, apparently, there was some back and forth, maybe about a payment of some kind for a meal or an outing or something. And he ended up demanding money from her at gunpoint, and something along those lines. And that's, so thankfully no one was hurt, but he has been removed. And so my students initially, so when I had been hipped earlier in the day to another story. So when I came to this class and said, did you all hear? They interrupted me and said, oh, about the professor that got fired for holding somebody at gunpoint and dating a student. I was like, oh, no, I had not heard that part.
I mean, I've had dates go bad. No, before you go to the next one. I mean, I've had dates go bad before, but never have I ever decided to pull out a gun over who's paying a check or what. I mean, I don't want to make too much light of it.
I may not have that detail right, but there was a gun, and that was why the kidnapping charge, because apparently he was holding her. It was attempting to get some sort of
money out of her.
Money or So So and then it led to the bulk of the conversation, admittedly though, was students asking and talking about the initial part about a faculty member dating a student, even though she was a grad student. And one of the journalism students in my class had reported to us as a class that there is no Morgan State there's no official policy against faculty dating students. And she was surprised to find out about that. I had not known about that either.
I'm surprised too. I'd assume also this is not a straight across the thing where schools have a policy. I know the folks over 18, but it just obviously it seems.
I just assumed there was a policy because there is for me. Like, this is just not acceptable. Like,
because you
got a personal policy,
but like a person, like it is for like you can't, like, what are you doing? Like, what would any of you like it? And it doesn't matter. As I said to my students, it doesn't even matter to me that she was a grad student. I don't care what the age is at this point. It becomes an issue for me about the power dynamic. And you shouldn't, I don't think, regardless of the age, I think you should wait for that dynamic to pass. If there's the appropriate age, I think you should just, I see we're interested in each other. Let's hold off. Let's finish the semester. Let's get the grades complete, and then we'll go out. But
was she his student though? Is the question. Just because she was a grad student didn't mean that he was her professor, right?
That is a good point. That is also, and you know what? I'm not entirely sure. I think I did ask that. And
well, shouldn't it be a ban across the thing though? I mean, it shouldn't be. Isn't that weird anyway?
I just would find it weird.
How old is a teacher? That matters to me, because I know some of these part-time adjuncts be young. You know what I'm saying? They don't be much older than grad school age themselves. So if he was 28 and she was 26, I don't really see an issue. The issue is the gun and the coercion and the force.
Absolutely. But again, for me, even aside from any age, is the more for me than the age is still that dynamic I would find uncomfortable. I would think that even if they are appropriate age, that there should be some, and maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know. I just feel I would have been like, we need to chill. Let's like, if you feel like there's something headed in that direction, first of all, I would have probably cut that off already. Like, if there's any vibe at all, you just I would just make sure, okay, we're never going to be alone.
Open space meeting.
We're just going to be open. Yeah. The door stays on my office regardless. Yeah, there's never that anyway.
All of a sudden, Jared turns into Mike Pence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, that's messed up. But
Jared could not be within
Jared
5
is
feet
Billy
of the
Graham.
foreign regime at all. then Jared has to leave the room.
But you know, because there's been very interesting things.
Running right here. So all the
I have had
interactions are
students make very inappropriate attempts to coerce grades.
Oh shit!
I have had that, and that's why it's like as soon before I remember one in particular, and even as she came into the office and started to close the door, I was like, widen that joint all the way up. Because I know what you up to, and I know, like she had this one in particular had a little agenda, but like, yeah, so I'm very careful about that. And then, but even more than what I'm worried about that part, I'm more worried, honestly, about being perceived as negatively impacting them. So in other words, I don't want ever the student to misunderstand or feel in any way that the attempt is coming from me to invite or mislead or whatever. So I just am very, but then the fact has also been I've been married my entire career basically, so it hasn't really been an issue. But the point is, I don't know. It's just
that doesn't stop everybody, sir.
I understand that. But anyway. So okay.
On either side, that doesn't stop everybody.
No, I hear you. In fact, I mean, I've had. I mean, yeah, that has been like an added attraction at times. Like it's been in like it is aid. Like it's made me more attractive to people at times. So I get that too. It's like, oh, he's married. Ooh.
So do you think now that this has happened, that Bowie State will implement a policy of no?
Talking about Morgan State?
Morgan State, rather, yeah.
And is this a scuttlebutt around town? Is this like is everybody secretly talking about this? The teachers, the students? I haven't
interacted with any colleagues around this yet. So, and this has just been not even 24 hours yet for me in terms of knowing about this. So I haven't,
What did he teach? What was he?
Let me pull this story back. I didn't do enough of a good job on that. I didn't. Honestly, I don't know. They asked if I knew him. I had never heard of him. And again, he had just gotten hired early this year. He, let's see, it just says he was a part-time lecturer. And then this story seems to, I don't move into something else. So no, I don't see, this one doesn't say anything.
And where did all this happen? Did this happen in Baltimore City? He was arrested by Baltimore City Police, or did you say in Anne Arundel County?
He was arrested by Baltimore. Let's see. I'm gonna pull that. Let me pull this part back up.
Because he showed up to old girl job at a bank. Like I'm sorry.
They were on a date. The way the students were. Wait a minute now. Now I lost the story altogether.
Turned it into telephone.
That's why, and even to the point about the Morgan State policy, I'm not even aware if that part is accurate. That what the student told me, that when she said she did discover that there was no, it was Baltimore City Police that arrested him and he charged him with armed robbery, but did not disclose additional information. So that's why I guess the students seem to be saying more or sharing more than this story is. The university is aware of reports surrounding Mark Stewart Brown and can confirm that he joined the university in January of 2023 to serve in the capacity of part-time lecturer. It does not say what department, and that he was arrested on this alleged offense by the Baltimore Police Department. And then that is it on that part of the story. So from this story, so I will.
But he got fired right away. What happened to innocent before proven guilty?
I'm not. Actually, you know what? I'm not. Let me back away from all of that, because the student. Let me back away from all that. I don't know what happened with him and Morgan.
Yeah.
So let me just back away from all of that. Let's see. Here's another story from just yesterday. That I can't read because I don't have access to that website.
It's okay. It's okay. We don't need all the salacious details.
But I'm gonna, I'm gonna look. And why? You know what, Kim? Now that you mentioned I'm going to have to come back to that with my class, because their entire interest in the conversation was not about the guns or the relationship. It was other than the faculty student part. That was all. That was all. They went that they. Yeah, but I think Kim is right. I think that the bigger issue is that he put a gun. Yeah,
I mean,
it's like
if they were on a date when this happened, that's just the fact.
That's what the students were saying, that it was on a date.
Who brings a gun on a date? I don't. What were you trying to? Just like I could see, like you normally having it like in your car, just in case. Okay, but.
That was the other part of the conversation. I'm sorry, Jackie. That came up because it was how would he have actually what the students said, how would he have had a gun? Because it's very hard to have a concealed carry permit in Maryland. And I was like, well, that's assuming he was doing it legally. There's assuming a lot. So there was a strain in the conversation that went into Maryland gun laws. And
throw that out the window. Out the window.
And weirdly, because I do remember saying, because at the point you're willing to point a gun at someone, you're not really worried about if it's registered. Like I don't think that's the major concern. So like if I'm going to at that point, I'm past being concerned about the legality of the gun because I'm about to shoot somebody with it. But I don't know. I don't really know.
I'm trying to think now my worst date moment kind of thing. And so this is not. Let's see. My wife went for a walk, so I can tell the story quick. So although she knows about the story. Because it wasn't really I wasn't sure it was a date. Like, we were trying to check in for each other. We were in a restaurant. And there's this thing that me and my people, we used to we call it, like, we would just say, like, that ass. Like, that ass is crazy. Or that ass is this, right? So it was like me, so it was just a common whatever refrain. And at some point she said something. I was like, ooh, that ass is funny, whatever. She said, what you call me? And I was like, that ass. And she said, don't call me that. It got into this whole sexist shit. She's like, don't call me that ass. I was like, what do you mean don't call you? I was like, I wasn't calling you anything. I just said, that. And she's like, I don't like it. Don't call me it. Then I was like, you mean don't call you that ass? I can't say that ass. Don't say that ass. So then she picked up a water and she was like, don't do it again. And then I picked up the water. I was like, you don't want to go there. Let's not do this.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it got crazy. Because of course, then I said that ass again. And she tried to throw the water on me. I tried to throw it on her. And, I paid. I threw money down. I got up and walked out. That's the craziest, I think.
Wow.
That I've had. But it's just out of nowhere. It's like, it wasn't, it was somewhat of a political conversation, a little bit of a, but it wasn't overtly whatever. But it just turned left on some shit like that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Why. If I had a gun.
Oh my
God.
I
would have pulled my gun out and been like, yo. Don't be telling me I can't call you that ass. I'm just saying. It was like,
that's wild.
That was my craziest date.
Wow.
That I can semi-date situation. I can remember that went bad.
Mine are all just awkward. Or I'm stupid. I said, I'd had nothing like that. Mine were just like, just my worst moments are just awkward silence, or like. Like she laughed at one. I remember this one sister literally laughed at my outfit.
Oh wow.
She couldn't even contain herself. She saw what I was wearing and she just did a Kim right there, just like that. And I was like,
and she wasn't laughing with you.
Oh no.
and it was evident.
Oh no, it was just like that. And it was
went out with you though, Jared, yeah?
Yeah, she went through with it. She took the free dinner and a movie.
Oh well. I mean,
there was no second date. There was no second date.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Like we barely crossed the finish line of the first date. Like it was like it was just, but nothing hostile. It was just me just being in awkward silence and being like, damn, I'm getting laughed at. She's clearly joking me. Even, yeah, it was. You
ever meet somebody drunk and then you change numbers you got on a date and they look nothing like you remembered?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I was like, oh shit. I don't know how they felt, but I felt like
whoops.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I hope y'all felt like y'all need to quit drinking. That's what I hope y'all felt like.
No, it didn't have that effect. It was always like, nah, I'll just be more careful, or I'll just be more aware. I'll take better notes.
Was the lights bad in the place? Was I thinking something? I had this whole
drink
image
less,
for
Kim,
somebody,
please.
and then they showed up. Yeah,
you responsible. No, stop it.
Y'all are hilarious.
Anyway, all right. Let me. Okay, so let me do this other one though. By the way, I did look it up real quick. It was he's being charged for armed robbery, accused of pulling a gun and robbing her during a date. Baltimore City Police confirmed, and he is 45 years old.
God damn!
And one of her instructors.
Old enough to
one
know
of her
better.
instructors. Yeah.
Way old enough to know better. Wow, that's
That's a mess, all top to bottom.
That was a mess.
45.
So, all right, so let me. Yeah, 45.
Yeah, hold on. Let me marinate on that for a second.
Go ahead.
45-year-old men are out here pulling guns on their young graduate student paramours for half the dinner money. Is that what I'm to understand? Like
that part of that wasn't in the. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what could it be? Like, what could it be? You know, like, I mean, even if I was in a situation where my credit card bounced or something and we didn't have enough money for the dinner, I don't feel like I'm going to put a gun on somebody and be like, you got to pay now.
I mean, I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the sister. Like, I can only imagine. I mean, first of all, an angry man and a gun entering the equation is terrifying, right? Like, so she had to been in fear for her life. This nigga's crazy. He done put out a gun on me over dinner, over a date, and I'm sure if we looked up Mark Stewart Brown or whatever his name is in the Maryland case search website, something might come back. You know what I'm saying? Because chances are this is not the first time that because that is domestic violence, guys, whether or not he laid a hand on her or not. A gun entered the situation with someone he was in an intimate relationship with. Be sure to underscore that to your students, Jared. That's the important part of this story, not whether or not he was a teacher versus graduate student. It's just the ease in which shit can escalate in a domestic situation over seemingly possibly nothing. So
yeah,
that's not cute.
But the fact that he was her professor, that's also, I mean, even if there were not a gun involved, there is that power dynamic that he could have easily used to pressure her, you know, into doing whatever it's just a mess. It's just wrong.
And I don't know what the Phoenix Academy is, but he was also apparently the principal of that. So I'm assuming when you say principal, it's at like a high school level, you know. So he was not just around Morgan State students, apparently, but a lot of young people with this sort of approach to the world.
Oh boy!
So it was their first date together. The student told authorities. Once there, Brown accused her of taking his phone. Police said, becoming increasingly agitated before drawing a handgun and grabbing for her iPhone 13 as collateral. The student told officers she offered to help Brown find his phone, but he refused and left. According to the charging documents, a neighbor saw Brown leave with a gun in his hand. The student told police she tracked her phone on her laptop, where she received a message that the iPhone was found several blocks away. She reported that she was not injured and that Brown never pointed a gun at her. Brown was identified by a Morgan State police dispatcher, according to the charging documents, and arrested Wednesday at the Phoenix Academy. Anne Arundel County Police confirmed. He's been charged with armed robbery, second-degree assault, theft, and 3 firearm offenses. After hearing Friday, Brown was released on $10,000 unsecured bond. According to his attorney, Brian Thompson, Brown was ordered not to contact the student. So, okay, I'm glad I found that. This is the Capital Gazette newspaper, by the way. So he never pointed a gun at her, apparently. So that point needs to be at least clarified. So I apologize for.
I guess. I don't really take comfort in that.
Yeah,
but
I'm not trying to say that as comfort. I'm just trying to get the accuracy.
The accuracy. I got you.
But I'm with you. It's not. I'm not trying to say it makes him less of a whatever. I'm just saying I want that part to, you know.
Well, what's the second story that you're pulling up? Yeah.
All right. So so now I feel like this one is okay. All right. To me, I don't mean to compare it in terms of severity. It's more just in I don't know, but No, continue working. Okay. So it starts with this story from the Washington Post on the 13th of April, so 6 days ago. And it's called Racist Spite Wall Torn Down at HBCU in Baltimore. And the story is that, although I think it's interesting because they go into some history of Morgan State and they talk about the white community that referred to saying that they didn't want the pure white community to be messed up by a Negro institution, colony, or settlement of any kind. This is in 1867 when the school was founded and moved to its current location in 1917. But what they're saying happened is, okay, so the president of the university has been getting a lot of news coverage locally and maybe nationally, including in the Washington Post, for tearing down a spite wall that was said to have been built by white residents in the Morgan State, what is the neighborhood in that Morgan now resides, because they didn't want to see and they didn't want to have black people being, encouraged to walk across the street and into that neighborhood. So the wall was built apparently in 1941. 20 garages with a wall with 20 garages that would obscure the school's entrance. Though denounced as a spite wall by Dwight Oliver Wendell Holmes, the college's first African-American president, the barrier went up anyway and outlasted the civil rights movement and election of the nation's first president. Morgan State has since grown closer to the community around it, investing in a nearby shopping center. That's the Northwood Shopping Center. As the school expanded, opposition to the wall grew. Only after acquiring private property that included part of the wall and finding funding for the demolition could the university act. So this is actually an important part of the story, that part of it is private property and they could only get permission to destroy part of it. And then the president of the university is quoted saying, "Here, we don't cave into the efforts of some to erase Black history, African-American history, segregation, and all of the associated atrocity in the history books. It's not going to happen at Morgan State." All right. So that's the basic story. But immediately Oh, well,
I didn't understand the last.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
I didn't understand the last. So the more,
go ahead.
No, you go. I want you to complete it.
Well, because immediately my students, the first thing a couple of my students said was, they asked, first of all, did I ever hear of this thing? And I said, no, I've been here since 2006. I've never heard of this spite wall. I've never heard any of this history. I didn't know any of this. Only recently, apparently, has it become part of freshman orientation. So a couple students had heard a little bit about it. But then more students started saying, but wait a minute, Dr. Ball, is this story even accurate? And I was like, what? And so one student sent me this post that, again, admittedly, look, I'm gonna look into this some more starting even today. But it sent me this Reddit post, right? And because I'm going to show you the map because I'm very familiar with this section because it's not far from my office. But this Reddit post says the wall that they are tearing down isn't the spite wall. The real spite wall was 20 brick garages and 20 brick wall, as the Washington Post reported, that connects them. It still exists. It's on Hillen Road across the street from Richardson Library. It was built in 1942, runs about 100 yards. That's all it ever was. Pretty sure it's private property and MSU can't touch it. The wall they are tearing down, which didn't face MSU at all and didn't keep anyone out of anything, was built in 1954. It was built along with the shopping center built for Hex Company. That was the anchor for the Northwood Plaza before MSU bought the property and expanded the campus. All right. So I said, well, that's interesting, because what I noticed was, because when you, and I'll show you right here, when you so this is Hillen Road. This is the wall they're talking about, that this Reddit post is talking about. And it's on Hillen Road. It's still there. And it is across the street from the Richardson Library. Which is the main part of campus there. All right. And what the wall that was torn down and pictured and described. So that wall that I just showed you is right here. The wall that was torn down is actually down here, across the street from the Behavioral Science Center, where there is now currently student resident housing. And if you and so the point of the Reddit post is the wall. This is the behavioral science. This is the Hillen Road where the spite wall actually was built down up here off screen. The wall that they tore down was actually in this parking lot right here, across from the Behavioral Science Center, and is not on Hillen Road and does not block students from the main campus, which is all over here. This is where the main campus is, as opposed to this new Behavioral Science Center, which is newly built near the Northwood Shopping Center, which is being expanded over here. So in another story, which I feel like I'm going long here, so I'll stop here. But in another story, there's a comment from a Morgan State spokeswoman, PR spokeswoman, who acknowledges that the wall that was torn down here was being torn down as part of the expansion of this parking lot behind the Behavioral Science Center that's going to be part of the new expanding Northwoods Shopping Center. So she acknowledged that they're tearing it down. She in fact says, we might as well tear down the spite wall because we're tearing it down to expand anyway. So the point is, and what we ended up discussing in class was, is the story accurate? Why would the president of the university, if it isn't accurate, rebrand the wall that was being torn down as the spite wall when in fact it doesn't seem like it is? And I found myself saying, look, oddly, in a weird contradiction, I admit this, and I'm open for and then I'll stop here. All the smoke, I'm here for it all. And I said, I get it though. He's trying to get all this state funding, federal funding. He's trying to get these military contracts to get Morgan State to research one status. He's trying to get the more of this PR that he can generate, claiming to advance into a new day, a new Morgan, a new world, is only going to attract the revenue that's going to get us in that direction. And so my students were like, but it's not. And I was like, this is part of the hustle, and I'm not mad at it. For all the hustling that these university presidents do and all the game they got to run, this wouldn't be where I would rest my criticism of him. Oddly enough, like we differ on many other things, but this one I'd be like, you know what?
Tear down that wall.
Tear down that wall.
Tear down that wall. That was the thing that struck me. I was like, why are they calling it a spite? I don't even like the name. Like they tried to Gaza. They tried to Gaza Strip fucking Morgan State. I mean, they were building a wall to keep the Negroes on one side. It's not even like, the train tracks. People got to understand that if you go here, whatever. They literally built a wall to separate. And again, racism is, or white supremacy is, it's an epidemic in America. It is America. But I've never heard before of the actual physical wall being built to separate folks so that they could not be seen and or get to the neighbor. I mean, they basically tried to create a college/dividing line. So the spite thing sounds a little underplaying what the situation was and what they tried to do. They literally tried to block off the university.
So
I don't agree. I think the other way. I think it is spite, because when you actually see the wall, it's not like it's going to stop anybody from going over there. It's not like it. So to me, it was just like a symbolic out of spite. We don't want you here. We know we can't physically, literally keep you out like the actual Gaza wall, which I'm sure they would have loved to build if they could have. But more like around the university. But this thing was more like it would not stop anybody. It was just like, white spite. It was just, Yeah,
but they can't, like, it's tall enough where they can't see you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and you got to climb over that. You got to physically get lifted up over that,
or just walk like 2 blocks down and around it.
So it wasn't a very good.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like, I mean,
spite wall, aptly named, out of spite.
Yeah.
Spite wall, yeah.
Just like a little fuck you.
Spite is illogical.
Yeah. Because that's what, what I ended up in part of this dive I did is the fact that you read about personal spite walls between neighbors.
Yeah.
Where just to mess with a neighbor, they like build their structure as far up to the thing and put it like, and then like, you know, just like a F you neighbor. And it's like, you know, it can't really stop anything. But I just thought it was a fascinating, I thought it was fascinating, to be honest. And I apologize and I appreciate you all indulging that little, you know,
yeah.
But it was like, this is some wild.
We can do all our news around Morgan State. It sounds like there's a lot of shit happening around
One last
like
bit of
the real professors of
one last bit of value to this, that as a journalism scholar of sorts, is that you saw that one Washington Post story just got recirculated everywhere. And so people weren't really looking into this. They're just, you know, in some cases literally copy and pasting and putting it here. So when you do a search for the story, it's like, oh, they're all referring to the, okay. And nobody's really looking. Okay. And then, you know, you got to go to Reddit where all the solutions are found.
Well, speaking of solutions, and the fact that some people want to build a wall around his ideas.
Oh, shit.
The ear doctor.
I got actual footage of Kamal leaving the club in the morning.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. See, something ain't right. It's the strobe light.
That is what came into my head when you did say when Jared and Kamal were recounting those strobe light honey tales. That's exactly what came into my head too. The
strobe light honey.
Oh boy.
Yo,
we gotta find the women though. How many times was Kamal the strobe light honey?
Right?
How could they see him in the strobe light?
Oh, they can see him.
How could they miss him?
How can you miss him?
Come on, once the strobe light hits, I see the blur.
Yo, speaking of students and schools and stuff, when we get back after this break, I definitely wanted to see what y'all thought about when it came to this right here, this teacher, this substitute teacher right here that wailed on this kid.
It started as an argument over a confiscated cell phone, and it quickly escalated. The scuffle ended with substitute teacher Xavier Steele and the unnamed student on the ground.
Is that the teacher on top though? That's the teacher.
Yeah.
Pressing down near the student's head, and the student screams.
Yeah, and now don't know kids respect no substitute teachers, first of all. So the teacher takes the phone from the kid, which you're not supposed to have the phone. I get it, but kids don't respect no substitute teachers, especially coming and taking their phone. So he went and grabbed for the phone.
So what's the rule though? If the kid swings on me, I mean, I don't know. I might lose the job that day.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess.
But the teacher
started by
physically
nudged. Grabbing the phone.
Well, shouldn't she be able to? If she tells the student to put the phone away,
right?
And the student is like basically "F you,"
and she takes the phone,
and she takes the phone. Can she not? Is she not allowed to be like, "Look, give me the phone," or should she call?
You can't.
I mean, I don't know, like because I don't.
You can't.
Call security.
You can't grab
what do you
stuff.
do?
You can't do that.
I mean, nobody puts their hand on my kid. If you put your hand on my kid, then there's going to be another fight. So I'm not, it just escalates.
Yeah, she's definitely going to get fired because you got to know not to put your hands on a student, regardless.
That part.
That part.
But he did swing on her.
That's a she.
What if she swings on you though?
Oh, she swing. If she swings on me,
I'm
then
sorry.
Both were.
Oh, both were women. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what if the student swings first? I don't care about what if the student swings?
The student swings, you block and you go out to the hallway and you go find somebody to come in, and other teachers, and assist to get that student up out of there. You got to realize that you cannot hit a student.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can't.
It's that power. It's the power dynamic. I don't. This isn't for me. This isn't a right or wrong kind of. No, it's the power dynamic. You are, as the teacher, substitute or not, you have more power over this child. First, and then we're talking about child.
Let me quick.
And it ain't your child.
Real junior high school. This kid was the bully of the class. The teacher, substitute teacher, older black woman. She told him to do something, whatever. It got all of us like, ooh. He raised up and he smacked her. And I do mean smacked her. Like no, wasn't a light. It was a smack. She didn't fight him. She left the classroom in tears and got whatever. But I'm just saying, I don't know.
And he was done. He was
I don't
expelled
know.
for the rest of the
don't
year.
know
Like,
about this. You can't do that. Obviously, I think there's always circumstances, but I mean,
it's a sticky situation, man.
No. I mean, he smacked her. You can't. No. Still no.
No.
Still no.
You can't take the job if you don't realize things like that might happen.
I mean,
not in that.
Hello, some of these
it's not a normal situation.
Are built like grown men. You think I'm gonna fuck with some 6'2", 13-year-old? Absolutely not. Nope.
you better run and get help.
I mean, when kids of any age or size act like that, they're acting that way because that's the only response that they have been conditioned. I mean, they're either doing it for attention or because that they're not taught any other way.
I get all that, but in the moment, I'm not doing a psychoanalysis and a socioeconomic, in the moment. I just got smacked, and you're telling me
as a teacher, we understand that we cannot, or person in authority, when we should not be dealing with kids' lack of emotional control with our own lack of emotional control.
Is it a lack of emotional control when I get smacked?
It is.
Well, because Kamal, and I don't have nearly the experience in this that some in the chat and seem to, but in my 1 year teaching high school in a no windows, hooded section of DC, with my temper, it never got to that point. The skill set starts with you de-escalate before the student is rushing at you, swinging and all of that. Because you're right, at the point someone is hitting you, it is a little more difficult to be rational. But the point is, you gotta start the steps in advance of that. As soon as you start seeing things ramp up, de-escalate, and even where it's like, you're threatening me. Okay, now we got to invite others to get involved.
Because that was a substitute. That was a substitute. No, I was just saying that's a substitute teacher. They there to just really get a check. They ain't really there to like.
That's not true either. That's not true either. That's totally false.
Okay.
Totally
false. Well, this one was. Because this one was like, yo, I wish one of these kids would put their hands on me. I'm going to show them.
To be fair, we don't know the full context of what actually happened there. We saw the end result, which is already everybody's failed.
But I told y'all one time we did a substitute teacher cry because like we hit him in the head with an eraser, and he was a substitute teacher. He just stopped. I mean, this is after a week. Like, he was substitute for like a week. And at some point he turned his back and he got, all you saw was like the cloud of dust from the eraser thing, that kind of shit. And he just turned around, and he took his glasses off, and he stood in front of us and cried.
Yo, let me just say this. The way I would have handled it is I would have been like, yo, all right, you want your phone? Take your phone and go to the office.
Yeah.
And it would have been over with.
There you go.
Just no physical contact.
Yeah.
That's like always rule. No physical contact.
Yeah. None. So you're going to get in trouble with the principal. You ain't
but
even
again, you gotta
yeah. But it's not always in this situation I see, but the one I described, the teacher, I mean, she's an older woman, with the stockings, the big legs, the bad wigs, older woman, probably my age now, was probably like my age at the time, but
he's still a kid.
That's right. You just got to go in there.
He just raised up on her. She wasn't expecting it.
Y'all was supposed to jump on him, Kamal. Y'all was supposed to jump on him.
What did y'all do?
Oh, laugh.
We said,
oh.
Yeah. And if y'all was the kids now, y'all would have had your cell phones out.
Yes, we were not protectors of the realm. We were just like, oh shit.
All right. Well, let's get to a quick break. I can see Kamal's bladder is about to bust. So we're gonna take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show and come back to you. Let's go. Yeah. What's good, everybody? Welcome out to the Remix Morning Show. I go by the name of the Ear Doctor, and this is Black Power Media, in case you didn't know. hit the like button, subscribe button, tell a friend to tell a friend it's on again. We do this every Tuesday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So with that said, we are in the 50th year of hip hop. Who am I going to talk about today that contributed to this beautiful thing that we call hip hop? As you can hear in the back, some of Marley Marl's track, but you got a spitter that goes by the name of Craig G.
Craig G, aka the Kingpin. I drop science, can't you tell I'm singing?
That's right. We're talking about Craig G. Now, let me tell you about Craig G. Craig G is coming straight out of Queensbridge, New York, also known as Craig Curry. He's a rapper that came out during the time of the super group known as the Juice Crew. That's right, off Cold Chillin' Records. He recorded his first song called Shout Rap in 1985 when he was only 12 years old. And then he recorded the Symphony song that you know, with Master Ace, Big Daddy Kane, and Kool G Rap. They did that in 88, came out and smashed it. This was one of the first hardcore rap songs that came out at that time. A lot of the other songs was kind of fun and dancey and stuff, but this one was hardcore lyrics. So he did that, and then he stayed out of music for a while, came back in 2003 and released This Is Now, which was featuring Marley Marl, DJ Premier, and the Beat Miners on production. But Craig G was a leading freestyle battle rapper. He was known for his big battle rap against Supernatural. Supernat. Man, you're talking about some freestyles. Both of them went at it. And he also helped to write the battle verses Eminem used in the 8 Mile movie. And he also helped 50 Cent when he was doing this Get Rich or Die Trying character for his dangerous lyrics for that battle rapper in that movie. So you can check him out also in the freestyle, The Art of Rhyming documentary that came out in 2005. But Craig G, man, he's dropping science. Can't you see what he's saying? That said, Craig G had 7 albums. So go check out one of them. His first one that came out in 89 was The Kingpin. All right, with that said, let's go back to the Remix Morning Crew. You know how we do. All right. Yeah, let's go.
A pack of hungry lions, so step out my way. I'm dropping science. I'm dropping science.
Yeah.
So he ghost wrote for all those folks.
Wow.
Hey, yeah. Dude, a lot of these rappers be getting money on the low. Yeah, writing for other people. You don't even know what they're doing. So big up to Craig G. And one of my favorite songs I did back in the day was that Symphony. I recorded a video with my friends and I did the Master Ace part. So yeah.
Oh wow.
You're bringing up your childhood remakes of hip. I for a second I thought it was like you were on there with him or something.
Man,
that was your boys. Around.
Listen, I was so in love with hip hop then and still love it to this day. Well, that's it. I'm gonna go catch y'all on the next break. Now y'all can get to
you always a mix at the end.
I see that. We got up to 3,308.
How many? What was the number? How many?
Right. We got up to 308 at one point, so he owes us a mix at the end of the show. Just keep that going, let y'all know.
Indeed. Well, we got some stories.
In other news, I will say, folks, get your bail money together because I apparently am going to see Jackie later on, and that portends potential trouble. So we might need a BPM bail fund.
In this case, yeah, Jackie is. At first, I thought you meant like it was going to be the date situation. Jackie was going to
post. I'm not. I don't disrespect the Luke Mons like that. The Luke Mons. You over there tempted fates and whatnot. I work with Jackie, comradely, the business of the people in the struggle. You know what I'm saying? There we go. There's no competition here. But I am going to see the crew. I'm going to see Jackie and the Bat folks tonight. And
what y'all doing? What y'all doing? What y'all up to?
Interesting. It's going to be
bringing
interesting.
Some food? What y'all making? Who cooking?
So no, we are infiltrating the. I IBW 21 State of the Black World Conference in Baltimore at the convention center. And not yes, we are infiltrating. We
you said IBW? Or is it the International Brotherhood of
No. It's the Institute of the Black World.
No, I would never. No.
I do that too. I often, when I first hear the initials, it takes a second and I go, oh no, that's Ron. Right. That's Ron Daniels.
No, yes. So
wait a minute, y'all back in good graces? So did y'all talk out the
But the next time you want to have fun, if you're around Dr. Marimba Ani, be outside of arm's length and ask her what she thinks of Ron Daniels and the IBW. Woo. Just don't be within reach. Stay out of that reach.
Because
Mama will catch you, boy.
So basically, they're having their big State of the Black World conference in Baltimore tonight, starting this week through Sunday. And it's a big old neoliberal Negro excellence across the diaspora.
Are y'all going to protest?
Well,
infiltrate, Jackie said.
We are going as journalists because all of us are actually journalists. So we will be providing very important coverage of the event. But we are also going to, if we have an opportunity to, address the concerns of the things that are not being raised in this conference. Things like, capitalism and U.S. imperialism and AFRICOM and NATO and all of those things that keep Africans on the continent and throughout the diaspora from prospering and healing and pursuing reparations and, all the things that they're talking about, but not talking about what's really continuing to make Africans' lives miserable. So
who's going to be?
We won't get kicked out on the first night.
Yeah, I'm gonna swing by on my way back from class and see what's going on. I got the selfie stick and the cell phone ready, And Kamal on speed dial.
Ron has always tried to play a certain role, I think, amongst elders, nationalists, not true socialists, and he always tries to bring in the electoral crowd, thinking that he can sort of pave a third way towards something like. And he did a lot of work on Haiti back in the day too, and obviously Ron has a long history. Was involved in Jesse Jackson's campaign when he ran for president. At one point, he was the executive director for the Center for Constitutional Rights. So he has a long history in Black. I'm gonna say nationalist / radical spaces, quasi-progressive spaces, or whatever. So that'll be interesting. Y'all should take pictures.
Yeah, I broke out the Canon T7 DSLR camera for this one. So
anyway, so Ear Doctor is saying that we're in trouble for not getting to enough of the stories that Erica has blessed us with.
I got one of the stories up.
Okay, good. I don't want to get any more trouble. We get yelled at in the private chat.
Oh, my bad. That was a good. Yeah. So this struck me. This was part of the stories that Erica put up when she wasn't hanging out with Kim. It says, meet the elite couple.
Sidebar, real quick. Can I tell you guys, Sister Erica is hilarious, dog. Like y'all gotta kick it with Sister Erica. Sister Erica
I can believe that.
Yeah, I believe
it. She told Afro to fight the white girl.
Oh my God! You gonna let her get away with that? You gonna let her step on your shoes like that?
It was way sweeter than that, Jerry. Because Sister Erica from Houston, so she got that that very sweet Southern drawl. She was like, "Why don't y'all just go on and fight?" Right. She said, "Just go on and fight the girl." I said, "Oh shit!" I'm sorry.
She's like all this talking, all this talking. That was her Brooklyn style. Right, like all this talking. Let's just throw some blows on her. She'll learn.
Texas, we just fight.
All this could have been settled if you just fought her.
Right. Just fight.
That's exactly where Sister Erica was coming from. But I'm sorry, yes. So shout out to Sister Erica. She's Sister Erica, a real one out here. I really enjoyed hanging out with her. But go on, Kamal. What she put up there for us? So what's going on here?
She graced us with this story from Yahoo News. Meet the elite couples breeding to save mankind. And that picture you see is one of the couples. Apparently,
that's the future of humanity.
That's the future. And look, here we go. Look at this one. Yes. So these are. So at the beginning of March, Arya Babu quit her job at a think tank to dedicate herself to something most people have never heard of, having worked in public policy for several years. The 26-year-old Londoner had come to an alarming realization about the future of the UK, the world, and the human species. It became clear to me that people wanted more children than they were having. Considering this is such a massive part of people's lives, the fact that we were not able to fulfill this want was clearly indicative that something was wrong. The new focus of Babu's career is philosophy known as, I'm not going to be able to get that one. Pronatalism?
Pronatalism.
Thank you. Oh my God. Pronatalism. I feel like they're a doctor right now. Literally meaning pro-birth. Its core tenet is deceptively simple. Our future depends on having enough children, and yet life in developed countries has become hostile to the basic biological imperative, linked to the subcultures of rationalism and effective altruism. You said nah?
I mean, that ain't the reason.
That's not why they're doing any of this.
But that's also not the reason why people are not having kids. Not because they're not altruistic, motherfucker. They can't afford them.
No, but that's the new catchphrase. That's like the new Joe Rogan and them elite, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel. That's the new catchphrase of damn, I can't even remember what it is now. What was
pronatalism?
No, the effective altruism. It's that idea that the billionaire elite whites have to do this to save the world. They have to provide not more in terms of redistribution, but they have to give more of themselves by producing more of themselves to the
that's exactly where the story heads. Person says, I encourage people who are, in the buzzwords, responsible and smart and conscientious to have children because they are going to make the future better. A pronatal psychology professor at the University of Mexico and consultant for an embryo selection startup. She is currently pregnant with her second child. Easily the most famous person to espouse pronatalist ideas is Elon Musk, the galaxy's richest human being, who has 10 children with 3 different women. If people don't have more children, civilization is going to crumble. Mark my words, Musk told a business summit in 2021. He has described population collapse as the biggest danger to humanity, and warned that
exceeding climate change.
Climate change.
Right.
God damn.
And then, I mean, they don't mention that in the African continent, the population is booming. And in fact,
that right there, I'm sorry. They wrote this whole article. They have this whole ideology, all these words, all these special new different words to basically describe white people needing to have more babies to keep the white race going. That's all this is. Because in the same breath, these very same people will espouse population control for all of the dark populations who are having too many babies on the continent of Africa and in places like India where there are too many people. The same people. These are the same people. This is just this is like the Fourth Reich. That's what this is. This is the Fourth Reich, and this ideology straight from Nazi ideology of what a woman's role is in the Reich, and that is to have children to advance the Reich and the Aryan race. That's all this foolishness is. And they didn't even have to write all those words to explain.
But I even think if you go back to the early parts of the 20th century in this country, the Nazis learned a lot. Like Hitler got a lot of that eugenics and stuff from here.
That's
like
true.
he was learning, from including. In fact, I was thinking of it just now that when I was talking about the Morgan story, the first Black president of Morgan is Dwight Oliver Wendell Holmes. The white original Oliver Wendell Holmes was a eugenicist. So, like, who was part of that early 20th century support for the good whites have to produce more because the bad whites and, of course, all the savages can't be, they can't be responsible or trusted with humanity. So it's like it's a whole, that's some wild. So this is the new thing. Effective altruism and pronatalism is the new eugenics, the new Reich, the new Nazism, the new.
But they cut out all the negative words, right? They try to move away from the stigma of trying to be put into that class, right? So they're not going to overtly espouse it in the way that their predecessors did, but they make it sound more like it's it's for humanity. They'll give examples that are outside of Europe to make you think that they're talking about places like Japan. I think the article referenced Japan's low birth rate. But at the center of this, like you guys said, are rich Silicon Valley types, white folks, who basically are worried about their population decrease along the larger American spectrum, and are galvanizing themselves to reproduce.
And Japan was an Axis country.
But it's also interesting the way that this propaganda sort of dovetails with what we are seeing policy-wise in America with all these abortion restrictions. Now, I on one hand, I would imagine it is to get white women specifically to continue to procreate, but in a lot of the states where these abortion the bans are, very prohibitive, these are Black populated areas. So I think there's more than one motivation here, in addition to get white folks to continue to breed, I suppose. I mean, that labor force still got to be there. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's interesting, this pronatalism. And you said Peter Thiel, Dr. Ball, is, an endorser of this philosophy. He's the one, astroturfing a lot of this anti-abortion stuff. Doesn't Peter Thiel have deep controlling interest in a lot of these period tracker apps? You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot going on here that is coinciding with the shit that women in this country are dealing with when it comes to reproductive justice and access.
And can I just say that I'm annoyed at the heat that people continue to give folks like Nick Cannon, but Elon Musk has gotten a pass for spreading his seed all around. It's okay when the rich white man with the fascist tendencies does it, but the Negro.
Yeah, but Nick Cannon's not giving us electric cars and spaceships and a free Twitter. He free Twitter, Jackie. Elon Musk.
I'm always just amazed at how much these folks think they're smart or above it all. I was like, just because you got money does not equate to intelligence. I get so tired of this argument. The few rich people I've ever known or spoken to, I was like, you are as dumb as a doornail. And for the most part, you've inherited your money, right? And even those who've done some stuff to make money is like, okay, so in this particular area of business, maybe that's you got that. But in other areas of how the world works or other intellectual endeavors, you are, again, as simple as pie. You know what I mean? Like, you are not somebody who has a lot of information, who should be thinking that your kind should be running the fucking world or should be, taking the lead or whatever like that in certain things. So it's always just like, I think some of this is obviously the way society is structured. It's so much attention and grace is given to people because they have money, which has nothing to do with their intellectual abilities or their ability to do other things or to know other things. But again, that ego gets in the way where you think because you got the money, that means people listen to you because they also want the money. But those same people will cut your throat in a second, hopefully, if they had the opportunity and they didn't need you no more.
It's the best, defense for integration, so that you can see how unimpressive whites really are. That's there's nothing like going to Ivy League schools and elite, it's like y'all are not.
Y'all are not the best of the.
You just got a big building and shit. You got a whole bunch of fancy buildings and shit. Like
y'all are not sending us your best. What is this?
And it's always. I agree. It's like you guys rule the world. You rule the world. Like
it's so unimpressive, right? It's just like, this is like, I mean, no. admittedly, there are some geniuses and some impressive minds out there. Not that they're set to the right course politically, but in large part, I was wildly unimpressed. I was like, you just all have a whole bunch of money.
It's just well, and the thing about these people from the article, you notice that the argument they give, is that, society will collapse. Civilization will collapse if people don't have babies, and people aren't having babies now, and birth rates are falling because it's so hard for people to have babies in society now. So instead of addressing policies that are supportive of people to have babies and raise families, so policies that are decidedly socialist, policies that provide for and guarantee the human rights of all people, instead of doing that, they create this new thing where the elite, the talented 10th of the whites need to have babies, and everybody else, they don't change society at all. So I think that's another indication that they are fascists. They are the Fourth Reich. They don't want to make society better for everyone so that all families can flourish as a society and as a whole, and society as a whole can advance, can progress. They're not interested in progressive change. They're interested in domination of society by a specific group of people, them and their progeny, therefore the Fourth Reich.
Boom. Mic drop.
And what Dr. Ball and Earn Your Liberation, what y'all talk about is, again, like even as they do this thing to get more kids, white folks don't mind ruling from the minority position. So keep that in mind too. Like, it's not like they're going to give up power just because, like, they're not the majority. They're outvoted. Right. It's not like, shit, we lost that election.
Right.
Damn. We got to
give them their freedom, then, I guess. Fuck it. Oh man, come on here, doctor. Spin us into
somebody who never should have. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
Continue.
No,
continue. Going with that.
That's messed up.
No, I want to hear this one. This sounds like it was gonna be good.
Oh boy.
But yeah, it's a bunch of smart dummies out here. I must say that, and the fact that people get microphones in front of them, then they look even smarter, but they're not. Even if you got these intellectuals that are great paraphrasers but have no common sense. So yeah, it's a whole lot of things going out here. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick break right here on the Remix Morning Show. All right, so let's get into it. Right here, right now, this is the Remix Morning Show, Black Power Media. Hit that like button, subscribe button. Right now, I wanted to talk about another artist and give a spotlight. Who am I going to talk about right now? No other than Ahmad Jamal. That's right. Just made his transition the other day, so we had to shine some light on this brother right here. Actually, he was known, his mama named him Frederick Russell Jones. Yep, coming straight out of Pittsburgh, PA. He was a jazz pianist, composer, band leader, and educator. For 6 decades, he was one of the most successful small group leaders in jazz. He was a National Endowment of the Arts Jazz Master and won a Lifetime Achievement Grammy for his contributions to music history. Now, like I said, he came straight out of PA. He traveled around with his brothers, and they did a jazz trio for a while. And what he did is he got signed to a record label and started putting out music back in his first album came out in 1951. He has over 50 albums, and his last album came out in 2019. I mean, you're talking about somebody that put out music for decades. Yes, he did. He definitely put out music for decades. So if you don't know anything about this brother, I suggest you start by just listening to the music, and then you could do a little more of a deep dive, because he started off, like I said, in doing a lot of his albums were recorded in hotels and concert halls. I mean, he sold it out. He sold out places because his music was the beginning of what you would call hard bop. He also ended it with post bop. I mean, when you start from the beginning of bop music and then you do post bop, you know you've been in the game for a long time. So check out this brother. Like I said, he just made his transition from prostate cancer. He had complications, and he was 92 years old. So big up to this brother. Go listen to some of his music and enjoy the rest of your day. All right, that's it. Let's get back to the Remix Morning Crew. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Ear Doctor. I stepped out right at the beginning. Who was that? Because you just referred to him several times as this brother. So
Ahmad Jamal.
Thank you. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He is responsible for one of my all-time favorite samples, and one of my all-time favorite tracks, Stakes is High, De La Soul, Stakes is High. That's him.
Does he have a child? Like a famous? I feel like I know that name because he's somebody's daddy. Now I'm sure he is somebody's daddy, but anyway. Maybe
I don't know about daddy. I know another radio host named Jamal Ahmed, but that's somebody else. No. Anyway, but yeah, great musician. Like I said, he's been in it for decades, from 51 all the way to that's a long life of music.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, I'll be back at the end of the show with a mix for y'all. Catch y'all later. Peace.
Yeah. And shout out to the remixers for getting us that.
Let's go, remixers. Hey, gang, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up out here because YouTube be hating. Even though the channel is doing all right, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binaries, we over 24,000 subscribers here at BPM. So keep pushing to get us to that 25K. Please.
How we doing on sorry, thanks, Kim. Sorry about that. How we doing on stories? I do have two that if we
I sent y'all. Well,
Kim, you sent one? Can you grab that? Did you send it?
I sent it to
while you're doing that. Let me. I'm sorry.
out.
Go ahead. Do that again. Okay.
No. Yep.
So I'll just be quick. There are two quick. One is we always like to raise up political prisoners and stories about political prisoners here on BPM. And there's a story out here in The Guardian, I believe just today or yesterday. Biden urged to free indigenous activist Leonard Peltier after decades in prison. So again, Amnesty International is urging that the president grant clemency to the convicted who was Peltier convicted of killing 2 FBI agents in a trial rife with due process violations. And if anybody, and I know plenty of people in our audience have looked into this, I'm sure, but if anybody ever wants to look into the case of Leonard Peltier when they say rife with due process violations, it's not, the FBI has acknowledged that they don't know who killed those agents and is just holding him in there just to hold someone in there. So even the story quotes a former FBI agent, Colleen Rowley, who says here became the first FBI insider to call for clemency after claiming that the agency's stubborn opposition to Peltier's release was driven by vindictiveness. The agency has continuously campaigned and protest against his parole and clemency. So whatever people feel like they can do or want to do, they should do to encourage Biden to free this man and let him have at least a few minutes or years of relative freedom. Because as Crowley is saying, it is vindictive. It is not based on evidence. It's not based on anything other than they need to have somebody locked up. And they were the ones who invaded Pine Ridge. They shot first. They shot at the indigenous. They're after having already penned them into this reservation. So you can't. Anyway, even if he had actually done it, how many years does this man need to be in jail? Given the context of that killing of those,
Right.
It wasn't like he was just stalking cops. They invaded.
Mhm.
So anyway,
And even former FBI agents involved in the raid and the former judge of the original judge on that heard the case, they have come out in support of Leonard Peltier and releasing him, and they have said, no, this was trash. This case was trash. This whole incident was garbage. That man needs to be free. So
yeah, and it's another indication of how politicized and unjust and non-impartial the American judicial system is. This has nothing to do with what their system says on paper. This is exactly what Jared and Jackie is saying. This is about punishing someone because an FBI agent died. And so the punishment will have to be internal to show that you can't do that. And so that's all they care about. It's not about like, oh, this person has served a requisite amount of time or anything of that nature. And the same thing is true of Mumia, like Mumia, particularly in Pennsylvania, where the police have such a stronghold over politics that's all about trying to show that this person will never see the light of day again. It has nothing to do with criminal statutes and so forth. This is all about making sure that someone is grinded into the ground and they never get to see outside. And there's a couple other stories that we're not going to get to today, that maybe tomorrow we'll get to, but they emphasize that very point too, or particularly around all this Russia stuff that's been happening. So stay tuned for that, because it's just another indication of how crooked the U.S. political, economic, and judicial system is.
So we'll definitely pick up on some of that during the 2-year anniversary celebration tomorrow, 420. Don't forget, everybody. Sorry, Kim, go ahead.
No, it's all good. I mean, obviously, if anybody is deserving of clemency and being freed from jail, it's Leonard Peltier. But at the same time, Joe Biden, his White House, and Democrats in Congress are on this tough on crime kick. And I can see it being maybe not to the president's advantage to free Leonard, just as we are on the precipice of the next election cycle. Joe Biden is determined to show that he is further to the right than Republicans when it comes to being tough on crime and releasing a convicted, even if it was through a very fucked up trial and a miscarriage of justice, a convicted killer of FBI agents. I can't see Biden doing that, just because he doesn't really care about the criminal justice system not being applied fairly to Black and brown people. He wants to appear tough on crime. So I don't know how much Joe Biden has used his clemency pen since he's been in the White House. My guess would be not very much. I'm hoping that this happens. I'm not very optimistic.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with you on that. It's unfortunate. Yeah. But anyway, in good news, and unfortunately, I'm really just kidding here. Another woman soldier has died at Fort Hood, and the base has said nothing.
What?
Yeah. March 13th, Ana Basaljuya Ruiz, a soldier assigned to Fort Hood, Texas, was found dead in an apparent suicide after telling her family about sexual harassment she had faced in the Army. The death set off immediate scrutiny as it echoed that of is that special something SPC Vanessa Guillen 3 years prior, which led to pledges of increased transparency from Army officials. The other thing, by the way, just quickly, that you notice reading this article is that a lot of the names of these women are Mexican.
Oh, Latinas.
So it's these Latinas looking for pathways for their family, citizenship, et cetera, and so forth, coming into this military, under all these promises of this, that, and the third, and they're being driven to suicide, if not killed outright by the abuse of men on these bases. And the bases said nothing. And so this latest woman died just one day after her 29th birthday. Another that was reportedly a suicide off base, but circumstances of that incident are still being investigated. The death and allegations of harassment immediately drew parallels to Guillen, a 20-year-old soldier at Fort Hood who was sexually harassed and murdered in April 2020. The case caused national outcry, exposed systemic problems of sexual assault at the base and throughout the service, and resulted in federal laws overhauling military criminal justice. There was the Fort Hood report from 2020, and we're still right back here with the same thing happening. and the base not saying anything. So,
and you're reading that story in military.com, not in front of New York
that's
Times.
right, exactly.
Not the Washington Post, not the LA Times, not the huge newspapers. Right. And so when women, particularly women of a certain ethnicity, get killed or commit suicide because of the harassment, that's not front page story. But if it was a Russian soldier who in Russia committed suicide because of treatment by Russian troops, that would be a front page headline on every newspaper in this country. And so,
or when they shot down the Chinese balloon.
Yeah. So the propaganda value is real. Like, it just has no propaganda value, not unless the either the family or the local population or someone makes this a huge deal and keeps it going. Will it then get a chance to sort of rise up to that kind of national attention in some of these places? But if they can avoid talking about this in any huge way, they will.
Yeah, it's wild, and and it says a lot. Again, the military is crazy diverse. It's crazy diverse, and from all the poorest corners of the country's empire, and then because
it's exactly what you said. People don't even recognize the fact that happens so often, that people are promised some sort of immigration status, and so there's and like how obviously in our communities, how poor folks can't find regular jobs that pay well. And so the only thing that people feel that they can do is enter the military. And so there's this whole thing of like sucking people in, because that's socialism for the government. They'll pay for those jobs, for that equipment. Again, no one talks about where the money is coming from. Folks are given certain either stipends or incentives to join. The money's always there.
Re-enlistment bonus too it can often be fat. That $50,000, $75,000 check looks pretty good.
But if you offer same amount of resources for people to fix the infrastructure in this country, for healthcare, they would be an uproar, right? It would be a huge uproar of like, how dare you decide to spend money like that? The things we talk about all the time, the billions of dollars given to build weapons that just sit there half the time, go out of commission, then they just rebuild the weapon. If that same money was given to do something that was actually useful for people, that money does nothing except build bombs that sit there. Usually, obviously they use some of them, but a lot of these things just sit there, and then they go out of commission because they're old, and then they go like, what we got to do? We got to build more of them now because we can't use those ones that are just sitting there. So it's all it's all a game. It's all a game about keeping some people. You can pay for, the government can pay to employ people, but it's only to do the things that the government tells you is needed, which has nothing to do with correcting the ills of society. So,
but can't wait for that next Puerto Rican military recruitment commercial.
Oh yeah,
or the Mexican sister running the CIA. This is,
oh my god,
this is this is great.
Or the Asian head of Pacificom.
Yeah. So, Kim, I do have your story ready if you want to get to that before if folks, or if there's something else.
Sure. No. They're just the usual bad news stories for Black folks, and they're related because it is same shit, different toilets. So the first thing we are looking here, this is the one coming out of the DC area, out of Northern Virginia in Fairfax County, where 37-year-old Timothy Johnson was shot by former Fairfax County police officer, because the officer was fired. Mr. Johnson was unarmed, and he had been accused of stealing some sunglasses out the Nordstrom's in Tyson's Corner. He ran, he was chased by police, and they ordered him on the ground, hands up, whatever, and they shot him. They murdered him, shot him dead. So the cop who did the murder was fired by the Fairfax County Police, but now the news is that the grand jury has returned a no true bill. So this officer, or former officer rather, will not be indicted for murdering Timothy Johnson. It's obviously none of this is shocking, but it is a bit shocking because there's no question about whether or not Mr. Johnson was unarmed. There's no expectation here that the police officer was in any fear from his life. This man was running away. He didn't have nothing on him that could have brought any sort of injury to the officer whatsoever, and yet he was shot down. So according to the lawyer representing this former officer, obviously they feel very vindicated that the jury, the grand jury did not indict. And now they're going to try to get this man his job back. So there's that. There is that. And just to be clear, Kevin Davis, who is the chief of Fairfax County Police, and Baltimoreans know Kevin Davis very well. He was the former police commissioner of the Baltimore Police Department. He actually had to apologize to Timothy Johnson's family because on the night of the shooting, Kevin Davis stood up at a press conference in front of live cameras and said that Mr. Johnson had a long, violent criminal history and he was this and he was that. Well, he was unarmed. And ultimately, he did not deserve to be murdered at all for any of the things that he was accused of doing, namely shoplifting.
A pair of sunglasses.
Of all things, Jacqueline. So a shocking, not shocking turn of events coming out of Fairfax County there. Apparently, the attorney general, whoever is the AG for Fairfax County, is contemplating either convening another grand jury to try to get charges brought, or trying to figure another way, perhaps, to charge this former officer. But a very, very sad development coming out of Fairfax County as a result of no criminal charges being filed against this former officer who murdered Timothy Johnson.
I think it's interesting that the story notes here that how often rare it is that for a grand jury not to return indictments, though it does happen. For example, like when they didn't it failed to return an indictment against the killer of Michael Brown in Ferguson.
Right.
So there is a sort of continuity there, a morbid continuity there, but that's
right.
That's wild.
Yeah, the old adage that, a prosecutor can get a grand jury to charge a ham sandwich. That is true, except when the case involves a cop.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah. So, wow. Well, maybe he'll get his job back and he'll have another chance to do it all over again.
Oh my God.
Do it better.
Cop in Atlanta, Rashard Brooks got the cop that killed Rashard Brooks. He got his job back and is back on the force.
Yep.
Wow.
And for people who don't understand, who are not in the DMV area, who don't understand what type of place Fairfax County is, you're not going to see any protests in Fairfax County about this, because Fairfax County is majority white, very affluent. They like their cops. And that's why, that's another one of the reasons why there was no outrage from the community in Fairfax County when this happened, because this is the kind of thing the people in Fairfax County want the police to do, to keep their Tyson's Corner mega mall very safe for them, and their Tyson's Corner very affluent, very white suburb of Washington, D.C. You have in places like Fairfax County, a lot of the people who work for the defense contractors in the high level jobs with the security clearances, and so you're not going to get those people ever questioning what the cops do.
By the way, Kamal, that's the county where my story and arrest took place that day. That was where that was happening, in Fairfax.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
And that's why, and it was beautiful. That's what made it the federal charge too, because the pills came from Maryland and the arrest was in Virginia. So that's, so they were so happy about, you could like what Jackie said, you could just feel it there saying, oh, yeah, it's terrible.
No, and then you got inducted into, you had to join the Navy, right?
That's right.
It fills all those stories, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah.
Well, on a continuation of police not charging murderers of Black people, I think it's a clip, the next one there, Jared. It's going to be a clip from Akron, Ohio yesterday, where the 8 officers Who?
Wait, I only have the one. Why do I only have one email from you? I only got that one story.
Oh, really? Come out.
One?
Check. I only
Check them
sent one
out.
email, but I sent, I think, 2 links.
I only got. Wait a minute. Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. One came. My bad. My bad. It just no. Wait. This. Okay. Yeah, I got it. I'm sorry. My bad. My bad.
All
my bad.
good.
My
It's
bad.
all
Here we
good.
go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm getting it together. Here we go. There we
No,
go.
the criminal and justice system yesterday was busy not charging police officers who murder Black people. Well, actually, let's listen to some of the protest scenes coming out of Akron yesterday when it was announced that the 8 officers would not be charged criminally with the murder of Jalen Walker.
8.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So out of Akron, the 8 officers who fired over 90 shots at Jalen Walker as he was running away. I believe Jalen was struck a total of 43 times, which is just a madness, an insane number of shots to even fathom a human body absorbing 43 bullets shot by 8 different officers. The officers will not be charged criminally. And what the police chief ended up saying is that allegedly Jalen had fired a single shot at officers. Again, allegedly, they say he fired a single shot at them from inside of his car. But once he got out the car, he was unarmed and they were chasing him 8. And we will not obviously play the body cam footage because it is just absolutely horrifying to just hear. I mean, it sounds like he's being shot with a machine gun, but in fact, it's just 8 different people shooting at him. And they say that he made a motion towards his waistband and was doing what they called a cross, something, whatever the fuck, just a reason to open up and unload on him. And by the way, the identities of these 8 officers has never been made public. We still don't know who they are. They still have been on administrative leave. So they basically been on paid vacation for murdering this Black man. And we are going to keep an eye on what's going on in Akron, because when this happened, the Akron folks was in the streets. They was not with these shits at all. And I imagine they still not with the shit. So it's weird. We have the indictment of the man who shot the 16-year-old in Kansas City twice. Fortunately, the teen survived. He's charged. But then we have outright murderers not being charged of Black people. It was just a very terrible mixed bag of news yesterday.
And remember, he's only charged because of the actions of the family and the community and protests, and that's the links you have to go to even potentially to get a charge, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to have a sympathetic story to get charged, right? You have to have something where he's obviously, like you said, unarmed. It couldn't, as if the cops have any right to kill you when you're running away, like in these particular cases that we're talking about. But if you don't have the most sympathetic of stories, if you don't have the family connections, if you don't have the media, the opportunities or chances of getting indictments are usually nil, right? So in these particular cases, and then this one, we can talk more about it tomorrow again. Like, he's already out on bail.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And not charged appropriately, in my opinion. Kamal, this man in Kansas City is only charged with assault and like some sort of firearms, violation. Hello, attempted fucking murder. I mean, attempted manslaughter. Like, there seems to be more heavier charges that I think could be laid upon here. But I think the prosecutor said that he charged him for what he thought he could get a conviction on. And it's just very interesting that when Black people are charged with gun offenses or murder or attempted murder, they get charged to the fucking max. But when it's a white person, especially accused of murdering a Black person, we can only charge them with what we could think that we can get a conviction on. It's never maximum charges. It's usually the minimum that they will settle for if the person gets charged at all.
And I always thought that the strategy was supposed to be you start with a whole bunch of charges in the hopes of getting, so you wouldn't want to start with. Yeah, I mean, just quickly, not that it matters, but I'm just curious. I don't know the story at all. Is the argument that he just randomly out of nowhere drove by, shot one time at them, and then got out of his car without his gun and started running? Like, what was
I think it was an attempted traffic stop, and again, there was some other details in here as well, because I can't remember if Jalen was either a Lyft driver or doing food delivery service. There was some sort of connection there as well, but they claim that he shot at them from inside of his vehicle and got out and ran and left the gun. So the 43 they allegedly did find a gun, but it was not on his person. It was in his vehicle, and he was way away from his car when they lit him up 43 times. But the wild part, hold on, circling back to the Kansas City story real quick, and this is something that the media just seems to skate over. They mention it, but they don't underscore it. The fact that this 16-year-old was shot twice by this 85-year-old man and knocked on 3 people's doors, and nobody answered the door for this child, for this teenager who had been shot, I think speaks volumes about whatever area Kansas City they are or wherever. But I know it was white folks who did not answer the door. I don't know it for a fact, but I suspect it was white folks.
And even on top of that, according to at least 1 or 2 stories I read, even the person that helped, they said you have to lie there with your hands up. Oh my God. So it was even on top of that, it sounded like someone, they like the person that helped said, like, yeah, you have to lie there with your hands up.
As he's shot in the head and shot in the arm and bleeding.
Yeah. Remember, that old man shot him twice. He didn't shoot him. There's no excuse for either, but he shot him and then he came closer and shot him again. It's amazing that he's alive. It's amazing that he's alive. Yeah.
I think, speaking of amazing, I think we should let the ear doctor do his thing, because I feel like I'm on the brink of saying something to get us all canceled and fired and shut down.
Man,
that's pretty motherfucking enraging right there, boy. I tell you,
listen,
boy. Spin us into happiness, my brother.
Hey, before I feel you. Before I do that, listen, tomorrow is our 2-year anniversary of the Remix Morning Show. So we're going to put the link in the chat room tomorrow if y'all want to tune in and come in and say, hey, how y'all doing, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have a hell of a show, so make sure y'all all come through tomorrow. That's it. Let's go ahead and get into a mix. All right?
Oh, fan, finally up in this piece. Got my mans that put me on, you know what I'm saying? One shout
y'all remember out there.
You know what I mean? Word up. MC. This is how we do it every day. We get freaky time. We do, my man. Big nice. We be getting down, representing. So this is how we go. Let you know how. Come on, people. My name, let me run it down the line.
Who's the best? Who's the worst in this here rap game? For those that claim to be the best, I tear them out the frame. I'm representing, putting Queens on the map. Devil Springs with some baggy jeans when I rap. Come up with the style. They call versatile. But treat me like no lame. I've been in this game for a while. I seen a lot of come. I seen a lot of go. I seen a lot of break. I seen a lot of blow. Yeah, it's a trip to stay and listen. Get a grip, get a grip. You don't even know the half on my boo. To be talking what you talking and to act like you do. Yo, say you about to cross the line and hit the border. LB fans start attacking, someone's acting out of order. Put on your leather gloves and hats and get your pits and bats and get the gats.
Where we going?
Get to the stats. The Lex, Cool, the Beamers, and the Benz. All of my ladies and my men, and all of my people, men.
Do what?
Keep your head up into the hoods. East Coast, West Coast, and worldwide. Ain't nothing wrong with pumping on live. And if you really let me, they can say right.
Yeah. Once again, welcome out. This is the Remix Morning Show. As we get into it for you and yours, right here on this Wednesday. Let's keep it going. Say what?
We came to rock it on to the tip top. Best alliance in hip hop.
And we out of here, y'all.
A set 1, 2 street. Black star shine, you turned on me. We came to rock it on to the tip top. And high tech make the beat drop. Wild.